Customer-centric organizations always win. In a world that's constantly changing, what's the secret to building resilient, lasting customer relationships? Now more than ever, it's a question on every leader's mind, and we're going to tackle that head on today. Welcome to the Future of Work podcast. I'm Lionel Liniger, SVP of North America Sales here at Workday. I'm thrilled to be here with Sheri Rhodes, Workday's Chief Customer Officer. And today we're going to dive into how that collaborative spirit is more important than ever in a world of rapid change and the rise of new technology. Sheri, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Lionel. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. I think before being Workday's Chief Customer Officer, you were Workday's Chief Information Officer. And if you think about that intersection between those two areas, it's really at the epicenter of what's happening today. So I think you're going to bring a unique perspective. It's going to be great. So Sheri, let's start with this. We are at the peak of the hype cycle right now from an AI perspective. You hear it in your customer interactions. I hear it in my customer interactions. Yet building customer relationships, there's so much at stake. So why does this moment in time feel different?
It definitely feels different, just to emphasize that, because I think if we had talked about this a year ago or even a month ago, it's constantly changing and, we're kind of going through the change cycle. So it is different. But when I think about it, it's really how do we lean into trust as a core component of our conversation with customers, because it's who they trust to be able to give back to their customers, to talk to their employees. And how do they use technology as a kind of force multiplier for that to make sure that we're really working those two together? So it comes down to, can customers trust us?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think in the conversations that we have, customers are looking for advice, right? They're looking for expertise. And I can imagine how hard it is to have these conversations with their different technology partners and sometimes hearing different things, but sometimes hearing the exact same thing from different angles. And at the end of the day, I think they're going to go with who's been there with them before and where the trust lies and where the credibility lies.
I think that's where the human connection piece is so critical, because it's not just about believing or trusting the technology. You have to believe, right, that Lionel's telling me, the right things and can I trust in terms of, where he's taking me on the roadmap and in terms of my business.
So I totally agree with that. So then, as you're building these customer relationships, yet there's this temptation maybe to go chase the shiny new toy. Yeah. How do you balance those two things, and how important is it for actually companies to go back to their core belief system on how they interact with their customers?
I think it's the core of how we should operate. So they have to have that core foundation, kind of those shared principles, those core values to really ground their teams against. And when we think about it, even in context of what we do, I mean, integrity, how we think about customer success, how we think about really showing up responsibly and innovating in a responsible way, or how we show up with our customers. And if we ground ourselves in terms of not only how we build our products, but how we innovate, how we talk to people, how we engage with customers against that value set, I think we're far ahead of the others.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we spend so much time on those core values and making sure that everyone who touches that customer has that same grounded belief system about what's important and how they should show up and, how matters. We talk about that a lot internally. And so we see it, and I think our customers feel it. What's interesting about that, though, is, we've got these core values, yet there's a need for change, right? Yeah. Yet there's a need to adopt quickly, as the world around us is adopting quickly. So from a leadership perspective, how do you think about that?
I think it really comes down to that balance of that human-centric approach and all those technology advancements, and how do you bring those together? So when you think about kind of how should we think, right, as leaders in the customer arena, there's really 3 steps. To me, it's all around listening, connecting, and adapting. And so if I think about listening, I mean, that's my job as Chief Customer Officer, right? I should be listening to customers. But if we all do as an organization, and everyone at Workday, right, treats customers as a core value, but it's understanding their opportunities, their problem sets, their context in which they're operating, right? We support so many industries, they have different needs. But then it's incumbent on us to be able to connect the dots. Like, how do we create the patterns out of what we're hearing and connect people to the right solution sets. And maybe it's, combination of partner solutions, other solutions, right, with Workday solutions to come to a better conclusion. And so it's, what does good look like? And we hear that because we've talked to so many customers, right, that we can bring that knowledge back. But underlying all of that, if our teams aren't adapting to change, so we need to be able to help them and encourage them. And it should be built into our culture in terms of change and adaptation. And the quicker we adapt and change, the faster and more easy it's going to be able to for our customers as well.
Yeah, I think what's interesting at this point in time is for anyone who's in a customer-facing role, anyone who's touching a customer, it's never been easier to show up prepared, show up educated, show up with a point of view, show up with a solution to how we can solve a customer's problem. But at the same time, customers aren't expecting us. They're expecting iteration, right? They're expecting us to do it together. And that's where the trust that we've built with our customers is so important. So we could go down this road together of figuring it out. And that's exactly why at Workday we spend so much time on co-innovation. Talk a little bit about co-innovation and how organizations should be thinking about that differently in this moment in time with AI.
Customers they don't necessarily want the perfect answer. They just want to know that we're on the journey together in terms of learning. But when we think about co-innovation or innovation, I feel like first it comes back to my listening comment. We have to be able to lean in and have open platforms for customers to be able to share with us, to communicate, to say what's top of mind, because we don't want to go build something in the corner. We want to make sure that we've done that together with our customers. So events like Rising, which is our user conference, is a perfect opportunity for customers to come together and talk about kind of what they're trying to solve for. Here were other customers that have had amazing success and outcomes that they've driven, and how have they used different products to be able to do that. I mean, I get the pleasure of talking to Christina from Instacart on one of the main days, and she's going to talk about how she's used Extend to build out this incredible app for talent and performance. So I'm excited about that, but there's so many stories like that out there. So that would be one avenue. Two, I think it comes down to, that continuous learning and leaning in and building and hearing the ideas and creating that shared vision together. So I think those are super important.
So Sheri, as business leaders are preparing for even more rapid innovation, what are the trends that you're seeing and the developments in the evolution of the customer experience? And maybe if you could answer that question, not only with your chief customer hat on, but your chief information hat on as well.
Well, one, I think AI is enabling a culture of experimentation and growth and innovation. And so when we think about kind of support in the front lines, our customers are expecting rapid response, fast resolution, like first time done scenarios. And so AI is an enabler from that perspective. It's like an amazing recipe builder or a sous chef that it's gathering all the important ingredients for us to be able to drive to those customer solutions faster. And so it's super meaningful. But it's like a 1-2 punch, because it allows our support people to spend more time on experimentation and thinking about new ways to approach a customer, even stepping back from a more macro perspective on how we might think about a set of problems together. I think the other thing too is like it's a constant growing and enabling and feeding that continuous curiosity, which we all want to grow, in our jobs and our careers and think about things differently. And so it's helping to fuel that from that perspective.
Do you ever think about, with given what's at stake with customer relationships, that we're going to go try something, or that a company's going to go try something and then have to, peel it back and then, kind of pivot and then keep going? Or is that just part of the process?
I think the reality is people try things all the time.
Yeah.
And it's going to allow us to do that in a much better, faster cycle.
Yeah.
So we're going to be able to try something else,
Yeah.
change. It fails right now. We might try something, but it takes a year to understand if it's going to be successful or not. So I just think it gives us more ability to pivot faster.
Well, if you're handing out sous chefs, sign me up. I'll take one. So on the advice front, what advice do you give to business leaders that are really striving to build those more resilient customer relationships?
Impact, like continuously drive impact, but that can only be done through a trusted journey together. And so driving impact, by yourself, solo, it's not going to make sense. But if they're driving it together, so that means, if we're on a continuous trusted journey with our customer, empowering our employees to do the right thing, and at the same time, working hand in hand with our customers to make sure we get to better outcomes and better answers.
Well, thank you so much, Sheri. It was an awesome conversation.
Thanks for having me, Lionel.
So to our listeners, we hope this conversation has given you a fresh perspective on what it truly means to be a customer-centric organization. Be sure to subscribe to our Future of Work podcast so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll continue to explore the trends and insights shaping the modern workplace.